Welcome to my world. Okay, so I wanted to get one more tray done. Then I've got to start getting things ready for my, it's a pretty big craft show on Saturday. It's at the Fairmont Armory, Fairmont, West Virginia. I've got a booth. I'm going to have at least 3, maybe 4 tables. It's going to be everything resin, UV resin, resin tumblers, you name it, animals, Easter basket throw-ins, just my regular stuff that you watch me do. I will have everything there. If somebody has seen something and they show up there and they want to see it up close and it's not out, I'll get it out. So y'all know me. Let me, I really need to go and get my taller stool, but I'll use this chair for the time being. Arthritis and everything. A lot of my stuff I have to sit, but tall stools, tall, oh my gosh, what are those chairs called? Drafting chairs. They're tall, and even some of your gaming chairs are tall. All right, so I have an idea. I've mixed up 12 ounces of resin. That's what I'm starting with. If I need more, I need more. This right here is a druzy. I'm going to use it as a pond area. I'm going to do one of my turtles and 3 succulents. One of the succulents I'm going to use as a water succulent. I'm going to tint some sand and make it look like dirt. I've got some pebbles. I've got an array of alcohol inks, which is what we're going to stick with. I've got an idea. I don't know, exactly how it's going to work out, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to get some things mixed up and I'll be back. Okay, so I just started out with like five of these cups with resin in it, and then this one here I'm going to start with, and I'm going to tint my sand. So let me find my knife. I thought I had one opened. One of these sands open and I didn't see it. I may have used it all. So we're opening a new one, and let's get, I really need a bigger spoon. I don't know that I have big spoons over here. I use them over there with my glitters. Let's see. Let's do this. Yep, I'm making a mess. There we go. We'll start with that. I've got my heat mat on. We're on a leveling table. We're good. Let's get this mixed. These little succulent trays, I've not done one exactly like this before, but these are just the cutest things as gifts for somebody that likes succulents, or to sit in like your live plant area as decoration. Some people place these on their bathroom cabinets or their vanities. Just having things like this around can lift your spirits. And let me find, we're going to use Latte, and this is from Pixis, P-I-X-I-S-S. And I really like the Pixis colors. I don't know that I've found any alcohol inks that I'm not a fan of. Even the ones from Temu, I've got some of those. They work just fine. I watch my alcohol inks, and as they start getting thinner, if I've used more of them, you can see the powder that's dried up in the bottom of the bottles. I remove the caps, I add more alcohol, reconstitute that alcohol ink, and I'm using it as long as possible. There's only been a few over the past couple of years that I've actually ended up throwing out and having to order again. Some things you can order individually. Some things you just got to get in packs. This come in, it was called Browns. There was, I believe, 5. I did a video on it. I believe there was 5. I think that's brown enough, maybe. I may add just a couple of more drops. I don't know why I grabbed that long lolly stick there. All right, maybe stir it up just a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna let that sit, kind of debubble a little bit. We got a good amount of working time. I use magic resin, and it's not very warm down here. It's 68 degrees. We probably got about 45 minutes work time with it. We keep an eye on it. We're good. All right, so the turtle, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get him poured. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take this grass green from Cruisix, this mica, and I'm just going to mica his head down in there a little bit. We'll find a brush that will go down in there. My brush is big. Let's do this one. This one's been gently used. But I'm just going to kind of go down in there and mica his head. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing down in there. This is that grass green chameleon. Get him good. And I will still probably drop a drop of green down in there. I brought some greens over. This is actually, it's Let's Resin. The Timu ones have a similar look to them as far as their label goes. I dropped some green down in there. I'm going to go ahead and put some resin down in his head. And I believe this is a new mold. I have about 5 or 6 of these turtle molds. I'm going to squeeze it. You can see me squeezing it down in there. Getting that green around. We're good. And we're going to go ahead and I'm just kind of making sure that all the bubbles come out. I'm going to use my little tool here. I'm going to go down in there, kind of stir that around. Make sure everything's getting down in there. I don't want any bubbles. I'm going to spray down in there with a little 99 isopropyl. And I'm going to set him down, and we're going to add some browns to him. Actually, bought this coffee over. It's actually metallic. We'll drop a couple of drops of the metallic down in there. And we're going to drop the bronze. A couple of drops of that. I'm going to put these up around the feet a little bit. And I may even do a little bit of latte, just because. Let's put a couple of drops of that down in there. And we're going to finish filling him up. And I know it looks a little messy at first because I'm starting up here. I'm putting some, I want it to run down through the feet. I want it to get in the little feet because they've got a little cavity in there. And I'm going to take my tool before I fill it all the way up. First things, let's scrape this off down in there. It don't matter if we get sand in that turtle. We're not worried about sand in the turtle. Let me to wipe this off though. Don't want to wipe it off over that tray. Okay, now I'm going to take my tool. This is a tip from a crafting syringe, and I use it over and over again. It's coated in resin. There's absolutely no hole in it. It hasn't been for months. I just keep it wiped off and I use it for these things. Just want to make sure that we've got as much of the air bubbles brought up as possible. He's got a little tail there, so you want to remember to reach down into his tail area. And let's go ahead and add some more resin. Whoops, there we go. Added too much resin. We'll be okay. When you do that, then take your paper towel, kind of go around it, soak it up around the edges, get that alcohol ink, get that extra resin off there. You know, if you have some flashing, it's usually pretty thin and it just breaks off even. Pretty easy. But we've got our turtle done. I'm going to set him back here. Like I said, the heat mat's on, and we're going to set that out of the way. Grab another napkin. I see a mess. I want to wipe this off. Okay. Try to keep this as clean as possible while I'm doing this right now anyway. Alright, so we got the bubbles. See the bubbles that's come up to the top? It's debubbled itself. I'm going to spray the alcohol. Watch the bubbles go away. Stir it a little bit. You can feel the heaviness has floated to the bottom. And we're not ready for it, so we're just going to leave it sitting over there and let it do its thing. Now these are my IKEA napkins, and I love these IKEA napkins, and I'll tell you why. If you notice, you use your regular paper towels and you get little white specks. Paper towels come off. For the IKEA napkins, you don't get those little white specks that roll off on you. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the blue and the green that I'm going to do over there. This is the Ranger Pistachio. I'm going to go ahead and drop about 10 drops in there. I want it to be transparent but not. I think I put more than 10 in. We'll see. Let's grab a little lolly. Let's stir him up. That's pretty. I think we're okay right now. Let's go ahead and do a blue. I think this is the Let's Resin Blue Sapphire. Let's do this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I counted that time. Let's do this. Alright. So, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to scoop it out, and we're going to place it around the druzy to begin with. That's where I'm going to put it right this minute. We're going to put it in other places. But right now, and I want some of the thicker stuff around this druzy. And it's okay if it drips down around the edge of the mold, because this is going to be like a pond / succulent area. So we're good. Okay. I'm to go ahead and drizzle some of this soil, that's what I'm going to call it, around the edges. And it'll run down through there. We're good. This is not a neat little plant area. We want it to look natural, so we're good. I'm just gonna kind of lay this out a little bit. We're good with just like sporadically. And I probably did mix up too much blue, but we're good. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's light this up. Okay. Moving like around here, don't really want it around the edges right now. Let's get rid of that. That's that. Now, I want to put a little blue. I'm just going to spread it in to the druzy. I want to make sure it gets into the little holes. Bought this druzy off of Etsy, maybe. Had it for a long time. I can make them, but sometimes it's just as easy. And if somebody's not like selling them for stupid prices, just to purchase them. Some people put prices on them, like they used 5 cups of silicone. And if that's the case, you might as well just buy your silicone and learn how to make some of these things yourself. But I believe this came in a pack with like 5 druzies when I bought it. It's been good. It's been more than a year. I know it's been more than a year. Okay. Now I want to do a little bit of green. Do you have the phone down here? Do you have the phone down here?
It's up here.
If you bring it to me, I'll answer it if it rings. I see something here I don't like. That wasn't intended. Don't know what that was, but you see, I think it was, yeah. All right, so you see how the bubbles have come up here? All this is happening. You just want to do a little bit of spritz. I don't really want anything down there on the pond area right now. Okay, we're going to set that to the side. We're going to set this to the side. We're going to come over here and we're going to mix up a little bit darker in the latte. I actually may grab me a cocoa. Let's see. I don't know. Let me look. Caramel, spice. Ooh, walnut. Let's see. Stool. Let's see what we got. Alright. We're going to use a cocoa. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's do 15 cocoa in that cup. And let me get me a little short lolly. We're going to stir this up. That's nice and rich. Ooh, that's really rich. That's pretty. Wow. I really like that. What do you think? I really like that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take it in just a little bit in areas. Now, let's take, that was dark, that was really dark. Let's come back with some more latte. And let's do this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually. That was 6, and a little short lolly. Okay. It's pretty. There, we're just going to come in and do a little bit of this because it'll interact with each other and make natural. Pour the rest of that in there. We're getting pretty close to level. Probably mixed up way too much resin to begin with. We're going to end up doing another project. Alright, so let's wipe this one off. I always set these to the side on these heat mats so that they can, and I see a bubble. I'm going to just be careful. Pop that right there. I'm not wanting a whole lot of movement right now, and that's what if I spritz it with alcohol, that's what we'll get. Okay, let's do that. All right, so this is going to be like a pastel-y color, maybe even a red. So what I have is, it's the Marabou alcohol ink, and this is ruby red. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put like 2 drops down in here. 1, 2, maybe 3, there. I want it to be pale, but I also am going to put some of my rainbow in there. I am on the last of this bottle. I do have another bottle ordered. I want, there, rainbow, and see how pretty that is. And we're going to put the resin in there. I gotta be careful with this. I want to make sure that we get all the bubbles out. Go down into the little crevices. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more red to this because I do want it a little bit redder than what I'm getting. Let me just go ahead and grab my ruby again. There we go. So that was like 6 drops in there. And there are little crevices and stuff. So I'm just taking my little stick and I go down through here and I work it, and then I'm going to take it away and spritz it just on top there so that some of that alcohol goes down in there. We're going to let that run a little bit. I'm going to add 1 more drop of ruby, because we added the alcohol spritz and then we're adding more alcohol ink. So therefore, a minute is going to come up on us. until that alcohol ink starts evaporating. This is pretty. I think this is going to sit close to the pond area. Looks like a water flower or water succulent. I'm going to set that to the back. I'm going to let that sit there a minute. I'm going to wipe it off just a tad. I'm going to add another drop of just a drop. Well, that was more than a drop. Wow. Let me see. It just kept coming. It just kept coming. It happens. But you can see the rainbow coming up there. So pretty. The rainbow is so pretty. Now, I see here where my blue kind of ran off. I'm just going to tap it again with some blue. Just a little bit more blue here. We're just going to tap it, because I'm just really making sure that those little crevices get filled up. Alright, and I think I'm going to go ahead and tap it with a little bit more green. Okay. There we go. We're good right this minute. Alright, so this one here, this one is very, I'm going to say, we're going to do a dark green in it. Let me see what I have. I want dark. Don't want fluorescent. I want dark green. This is green. I should have plenty of greens. Let me look and see about my green paste. Let's see about green paste. Okay, yeah, I have some. This is a green paste, and I'm not 100%. I think it comes from Marblers off of Amazon. It's not labeled. We're going to get a little lolly. We're going to stir this just a tad bit, because it kind of separates. I've made my own paste. The green that I have mixed up is an avocado green. I don't know that it's the exact green I wanted, so that's why I grabbed this one. Let's stir this. Oh yeah. I think that's exact green that I want. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to pull this away. Just a little spritz of alcohol. I'm going to squish it around. Down in there. You can hear it. And we're going to slowly add the green. And we're going to use our tool and make sure that we get the green down into all the crevices. Alright. I'm going to just pull it away, do another little bit of spritz of alcohol. Alcohol is your friend, and so is tape. Tape is your bestie. Let's go ahead and put some more in and work it around. You can see there's little crevices. You want to make sure that you're getting things down into that crevice. And one thing that you need to understand about resin is where resin has been, resin will go. So if you're just taking it and just wiping it down in there, that helps to make sure that you're getting resin in those areas. Alright, I'm going to wipe this a little bit on top. There we go. Let's finish up with this green. Now, you can see that there's some little side areas, and I'm just going to make sure that that is in those side areas. Okay. Awesome. We're going to set that over there. Let it do its thing. Alright. Now, this is little wee tiny. And I'm wondering if we need to make it more colorful or just do a brown in this. So I'm just going to pull it away. I want to make sure we're getting alcohol down in there. And I think we're going to use some of this. And this is that cocoa, and I think it's so pretty. Let's just go down in here because there's all kinds of little places down in there. And we squished our alcohol in there, but we want to make sure that we get a good coat of resin so that we get the resin in there. I'm going to pull it away. I'm going to do an over spritz of alcohol. I didn't do a direct spritz, that's a small mold. So let's go ahead and see what we got. I think that should be plenty. Go ahead and pull that away and work that down in there. So if you've watched some of my work, you know that I'm a fan of fairy. I do fairy things. I hide fairies and things. Let's go over here. Let's fill this up. I hide fairies and things. I've hide fairies in my animal molds. I do fairy trays. There we are. We're using up all that cocoa. It's cool. Alright, let's get rid of that. Swipe this little lolly off. Set it over there, over there, over there. Alright, so basically what I'm doing is I'm watching this druzy. I'm watching this druzy. Because here in about before 4 hours and probably 2 hours, we're just going to come in and we're going to back coat this whole tray. And I just want to make sure that like this water area, or what I'm thinking about is the water area, is coated well before I back coat this. And we have a lot of resin left over, so guess what, guys, we're fixing to move on to another project. So we're going to move this out of the way. We've got the turtle. He's sitting over here cooling. Curing. We're going to put him there and him there and him there. And we're going to work on we're going to do another mold. So let's talk about this. I have this big mold here. Let me start a new video. We're going to come in over here and we're going to push some rocks through that resin. Just to make sure that those rocks are showing up. I'm getting that resin on my fingernails. It is about time for a feel, and bless my nail guy's heart, he does such a good job. I'm going to drop some here, and then I'll kind of wiggle them down through. I want to have a couple of rocks in that pond area. I'm going to put a lot more rocks over at one end. And there. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to take and kind of wiggle these rocks through that resin. We're going to rough that soil's feathers a little bit. You see what I mean? Getting that natural look, that invasion of the rock. Invasion of the rocks. We want that. We want that. So this is starting to set up some. I'm just going to upset some of these a little bit. There we go. I'm going to upset that a little bit. We're good. Let's upset this a little bit over here, make more of that show through. Let's bring him back over here. It's still moving. It's just such a super thin layer, but I did want to make sure that I got these things in here. All right, so we're good. All right, guys, this looks fabulous. I'm glad I did this whole thing with the leftover resin. I knew I had it in my head doing this whole project and then having a little bit extra, but I wasn't thinking that I needed to make sure that this was about an hour or two into curing before I came back and backfilled it. I think this is going to be nice. I think the turtle and the little flowers, they'll be nice. Remember, those are going to be placed on the inside top, and then we'll do a flood coat to place everything in place once it's there. So that's where we're at. I'm just going to do a little bit of this. Normally, I would take and I would run something down through here to make sure that I don't have bubbles, but that resin was at a good point and it's wide. This is a wide bowl. I don't think that I'm going to have problems with bubbles. I can see down through here, and let me show you. Back to this. I'm going to backfill this. I haven't decided. Should I do a clear backfill? Should I do a dark backfill? Should I do a white backfill? I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get my magic resin mixed up, and then at that point I'm going to make an ultimate decision. Because whatever decision I make is going to reflect on the top side. So that's where we're at.
In Central America. For as long as John Lee could remember, his mother had come into his life unannounced and left just as quickly when the next man or the next adventure caught her eye. Mama Nell used to defend her by saying that she was flighty, but Papa was more down to earth about such things, saying his daughter was an airhead. Sometimes John Lee wondered if there was something wrong with him, that he had married a woman so much like his mother. Emily had never been happy in herself or in their marriage, and since they had split up, she had jumped from man to man, and an occasional woman, as well as from career to career. As for Eileen, Papa always said his wife's sister was a fixer-upper kind of woman, but Lord help any man that tried to take on that project. They heard Rocca's laughter coming from inside the house, and Papa shook his head and said, "Just the sound of that old crow's voice is enough to make you mad enough to shit something you never ate." John Lee laughed and said, "Well, I guess the best thing you can say about it, Papa, is that you got the pick of the litter." "Yeah, but I didn't know the worst of the litter was going to be this bad." "You know what she said to me when she came in this time, John Lee? She said I was looking pretty good for an old fart." "Well, she was telling the truth," John Lee told him. "You do look pretty good for an old fart." "That ain't the point, son. Where did she get off saying something like that?" "I didn't tell her that for a fat gal she didn't smell all that bad, did I?" Laughing again, John Lee shook his head and said, "No, but I'm surprised you didn't." "And did you get a load of that latest guy of hers?" "Chip. Who the hell calls a grown man Chip? Sounds like one of them damn college boys. And did you see that nasty-ass rug that he calls hair on top of his head? Who the hell does he think he's fooling?" "This is hair," Papa said, pointing at his own gray hair and ponytail that hung down his back. The back door opened and Mama Nell called out, "Y'all about ready to come in? Supper's on the table. It's late enough as it is." "I apologize for that, Mama Nell," John Lee said as he walked up onto the back porch. Like I said, we got called out at the last minute for a big arrest. Don't you pay no never mind to that, his grandmother told him. I understand that you and Maddie got to do what you got to do when you got to do it. But this old goat, every time your Aunt Eileen shows up, he finds something that absolutely has to be done in the barn or someplace else outside. You'd think he didn't have an appetite sometimes, and we both know that man would eat roadkill if someone slapped some Tabasco sauce on it. That's because that sister of yours puts me off my feed, Pawpaw grumbled as he followed John Lee through the door. She's going to hear you talking about her like that, Mama noticed. If she does, do you think she'll turn around and go back home? Because I can talk louder, Pawpaw told her. Now be nice, Mama Mel said, slapping him playfully on the arm. You've no cause to be ugly, Stanley. Ugly? What about the face on that cow sitting at my kitchen table? Now that's ugly. Stanley, I'm warning you. Pawpaw knew that when his wife used his given name, she meant business, so he just said, come on, John Lee, before she eats everything up, and we don't even get table scraps. Here's my handsome nephew. I didn't get to say much more than howdy when you first got here, before you went out in the yard to help Stanley. His aunt got up and gave him a big hug, the heavy smell of her perfume overwhelming him at close quarters. John Lee forced a smile and hugged her back, then sat down next to Maddie. Your pretty lady here was just telling us that there was some kind of big raid went down this afternoon that made y'all late for dinner, said the man sitting across the table from him. John Lee wished Pawpaw hadn't said anything about his toupee, because now he couldn't help looking at it. His grandfather was right. It would only fool a blind man. Or maybe someone as desperate for male company as his aunt. It happens sometimes, John Lee told him. Being late for dinner is just part of the job. Well, it's a damn fine job you two do, Chip said. Ain't many people want to be a cop these days. And can you blame them? Damn media makes them all look like a bunch of Nazi stormtroopers. If you ask me, they ought to let y'all just shoot a bunch of the scum roaming the streets today, no questions asked. Hell, I'd even pitch in for the bullets. John Lee didn't reply to that, hoping that somebody would.
Hey guys, so I decided yesterday that I wasn't happy with just everything that I had done, so I wanted to do some more. And so I went ahead and instead of flood coating and finishing this off, went ahead and did some more of the little succulent plants. Just to add to it, I made another little cocoa colored plant there. And I did a couple of others here. And then today, I will do that coat and kind of put everything in its place with some additional stones and accessories to kind of make it pop a little more. But I think this is really pretty. I think that it turned out super pretty anyway. So, yeah. Haven't decided exactly where everything's going to be placed, and you can see like the stones and stuff through the dirt.
I realized
So
after the fact that it stopped recording everything that I did to the tray previously.
That eye for design.
I actually mixed up additional sand and made it look like dirt, and you can see that around some of the rocks and the turtle and around the pond itself.
The final product,
so that there would be extra texture to this mold. And then here we're just going to go ahead and flood it with some resin.
Alright guys, check this piece out. Is that not just so pretty, the way that turned out? I took a simple tray and turned it into this. See the turtle? I made it look natural. Wow.